Me again, year 3. Here we go with your maths lesson, week 8, lesson 3. And we'll start off with another little game on the internet, revising time. So go to the Google Emergency Pack and you'll find the link there. We're using the Maths Frame website and a game called Telling the Time. It comes up like this. But if you scroll down, here's the game. Now your levels, we're going here, aren't we? Read the time to the nearest 5 minutes. If you'd rather do a bit of revision first though, so the quarter of the hour and half hour, feel free to play those. But most of us should be starting here now. 12-hour clock. Let's do the timed game. Okay, what is the time? What do you think this time? And so on. Have fun and see if you can keep beating your score. If you're happy with that, have a go at read the time to the minute. A little bit harder. Again, use a 12-hour clock and time yourself. Have a try, don't be shy. Let's just do a little bit of revision now on measuring and the units that we use. Do you remember what km stands for? Kilometre, isn't it? And the m is metres. How many metres were there in 1 kilometre? It's 1,000, isn't it? So 1,000 of these makes 1 kilometre. And that's a little bit more than half a mile. It will probably take you about 10 minutes to walk that. How many metres are in half a kilometre then? Well, if you're halving 1 kilometre, you half the metres. Half of 1,000 is 500 metres. Now, if it takes about 10 minutes to walk 1 kilometre, how long will it take to walk half a kilometre, or 500 metres? If we're measuring water or juice, you wouldn't use kilometres or metres, would you? What would you measure in? If you're measuring a lot of liquid, you'd use litres, wouldn't you? But of course we shorten that to L for litres. If you're measuring a small amount of liquid, you'd be measuring in millilitres, wouldn't you? But you'd use ml for that. How many millilitres make 1 litre? Well, that was 1,000 as well, wasn't it? You remember? So how many millilitres are in half a litre? I wonder if you know how many millilitres are in a quarter of a litre. So half a litre will be 500 millilitres. And if you halve it again, you get a quarter of a litre, 250 millilitres. Let's think about weighing things now. And of course, if you're measuring something really heavy, measure in kilograms. Something nice and light, you'd be using grams. How many grams are there in 1 kilogram? Well, just like your litres and metres, there's 1,000 grams in a kilogram. How many grams in 2 kilograms then? If you've multiplied the kilograms by 2, just multiply the grams by 2. 1,000 would become 2,000 grams. How many grams would there be in 8 kilograms? Now let's look at these. 2L, what does that stand for? It's 2 litres, isn't it? And they want you to convert that to millilitres. How many millilitres in 2 litres? Did you get that? You just times it by 1,000, don't you? By adding 3 zeros. What about this one though? We've got 6,000 m. What does that mean? It's 6,000 metres, isn't it? And they want us to convert it to kilometres. What do you think that would be? So here we're going for the tiny units to the big unit. So you knock off those 3 zeros, you're dividing by 1,000. What do they want us to convert millilitres to here? And what would 5,000 millilitres be? Did you get that one? How about 3 kilometres? Convert it to metres. Now on squared paper, have a go at these ones. So write down what you're starting with and then write down what you've converted it to. Don't forget to put the units, either ml, m, km, etc. Now that the football season's kicked off again, we're going to use football to help us with our maths. This is the mighty stadium of the mighty Blackburn Rovers. There's probably only Luke Tuff that knows who they are, but never mind. We're going to be working out the perimeter of a football pitch. And hopefully you know that that means that's a distance all the way around the edge of the pitch, back to where you started. Now football's been around for an awfully long time, and they are traditionally still measured in what we call yards, a very old-fashioned measurement. And the rules are, for a football pitch, it has to be between 50 and 100 yards wide and between 100 and 130 yards long. That would be between 45 metres and 90 metres wide and 90 to 120 metres long. Yards aren't used much at all nowadays, but it is the tradition with football. Even I wasn't taught about yards when I was at school, and that's a long, long time ago. Here's a football stadium that we're going to have a look at. I'm not sure which one that is. Maybe you recognise it. You can see the pitch has been measured in yards, not metres. But that doesn't matter. We can still work out the perimeter, and it's a calculation that's important, not the units of measurement they've used. Now they haven't shown you the measurement of this side of the pitch, have they? But you know that the pitch is a rectangle. These two sides have to be the same length. So if that's 74 yards, this has to be 74 yards. Likewise, when you're doing the length of the pitch, if this side is 115 yards, this side has to be 115 yards, doesn't it? To work out the perimeter, you could think about starting here. You'd walk 115 yards, then 74 yards, another 115 yards, and finally your 74 yards to get back to where you started. And your addition sum would be this, wouldn't it? But my brain's going, that's tricky, that's going to take a while. Can you think of something that would make it much easier to work out? Are there some number facts or sneaky cheeky ways we could work that out with? I can see double 115, which is quite an easy one to double in your head. Double 100 is 200 and double 15 is 30. So double 115 must be 230. What about double 74? You know double 7 is 14, so double 70 is 140. Double 4 is 8, so double 74 is 148. Now that looks more manageable, doesn't it? You could partition and recombine, or do it in your head, or you could use a vertical or column addition. Zero and 8 is 8, 3 and 4 is 7, 200 and 100 gives you your 300. And remember that is yards. And just to prove that, that's how they've set it out. Here's a different football stadium to have a look at. I want you to think now how you could work out the perimeter of this pitch by yourself. Show me your working out on your square paper and show me your answer in yards, remember. Off you go. Pause the video. Now your answer shouldn't be far off the last one, 378 yards, because remember those rules for the size of football pitches. If you're way off 378, you might need to try it again. You've gone wrong somewhere. Now let's look at some dinosaur footprints. We're going to find the total length of these two dinosaur footprints. They're obviously too small to measure in kilometres or even metres. They haven't even measured in centimetres. They've measured in mm's. What do you think that means? Well, that's millimetres, isn't it? Let's have a quick look at those millimetres on this ruler. You will have worked with centimetres quite a lot. There's 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres, 3 centimetres and so on. And you can see that this pencil is 13.5 centimetres. But each centimetre is split up into tiny, tiny, tiny little millimetres. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So this is where measuring length can get a little bit confusing. 10 millimetres equals 1 centimetre. But 100 centimetres make 1 metre. And 1,000 metres make 1 kilometre. Can you see what's happening here on the left? Each time we make our units of measure bigger. You've added a 0 on, haven't you? Let's get back to those dinosaur footprints. So, the one on the left is 354 millimetres long. The one on the right is 527 millimetres long. It looks like it's the other way round in that photograph, but that's just the way they've set it out. What's the total length of those two footprints? How could you work this out? Write down the sum on square paper. Show me your working out. Show me your answer. I wonder if you used the column addition method to work out the answer. I'm deliberately not showing you the answer here, but that's how you could have set it out. Now turn to your textbook, page 54, and there are some more measuring problems to solve. You're probably going to use column addition to help you. You can use a different method if you prefer, up to you. But you must show me your working out, please, nice and neatly on that squared paper. Remember, a good way to solve these problems isn't to use YMCA. I won't sing, I promise. It's to use RNCA. Read the question. Note down those important numbers. Write down the calculation you think you need to do and work out your answer. Then have a go at page 55 in your textbook. More football pitches to work out the perimeters of. But they have measured this time in metres, not the old-fashioned yards. Have a go at the think questions for some extension work. They're really good for stretching you. And if you've been wondering about those football pitches that I showed you photographs of, the first one was Ewood Park. The second one was Old Trafford. So you Man United supporters will recognise that. And the last one was the Emirates for the Arsenal supporters amongst you. For more extension, find this in your pack and have a try. You're working with 4-digit numbers sometimes here, and there are word problems too. On the back you'll find this as well, And look what it says. Please show you're working out. Don't just write the answer, but I also want you to do it neatly. And that's another lesson done, year 3. Well done. See you tomorrow. Bye.